With a dainty motion, the bride sliced the cake and then selected a sizable piece which she decided needed a glaze of mashed spaghetti. The groom, whatever he thought the marriage would bring, believed this should be his moment. We're working on particularly interesting relative clauses in this movie. The first sentence opens up with a prepositional phrase with a dainty motion that's adverbial, talking about how the slicing how it was done with a dainty motion. Slice the cake. We've got a coordinating conjunction. We've got a little adverb here, and then we've got a second action verb. Selected a piece. We've got a second direct object here. And then we've got this impacted relative clause. I call it an impacted relative clause. It can be described as a double relative clause. It's got two verbs within the clause itself. The way I start to identify the grammar within the clause is to see she decided as almost a speech heading. It's sort of ruling, dominating the rest of the clause. She decided, she action verb, and then she decided what, which needed a glaze of mashed spaghetti, is how this is going to function. This is the subject which of this verb needed, action verb, it needed a glaze, direct object, and then we've got this adjectival prepositional phrase modifying glaze, and we've got this nice little participle acting as an adjective within this. If we straighten out this relative clause, putting the grammar in the normal order, it would read, she decided which needed a glaze of mashed potato, or to make it a little bit more concrete, she decided the sizable piece needed a glaze of mashed spaghetti, not potato, spaghetti, Tom. It's as though this is a speech heading and then you've got the answering dialogue following it. That's how I visualize impacted relative clauses as functioning. We've got another one here. And the main clause has the subject groom, believed, action verb. The groom believed, well, this is a tricky sentence here. The groom believed. Let's go into this relative clause, this impacted relative clause. He thought, subject, thought, action verb. What did he think? Whatever. He thought the marriage would bring whatever. This now ends up being the remainder of that impacted relative clause. Marriage would bring action verb, direct object out of normal order. That's functioning as the direct object of this small piece of grammar. He thought. He thought what? The marriage would bring whatever. The entire impacted clause is adjectival. It's modifying groom. I don't believe I talked about the function of the previous impacted relative clause. This clause, which she decided needed a glaze of mashed spaghetti, is also adjectival, describing peace. We've got one final clause here. This should be his moment. Subject should be, that's a linking verb, moment, predicate, noun. It looks like an independent clause, but you can't have an independent clause here, and what we're missing is the subordinate conjunction, T-H-A-T. The groom believed what? That this should be his moment. This final clause is a subordinate clause functioning as the direct object, functioning as a noun, the direct object of believed. If we were to turn this last sentence into the passive voice, it's in the active right now, we would take this clause here, which is the direct object of believed, and make that the subject. We would rework it along these lines. That this should be his moment was believed by the groom, whatever he thought the marriage would bring.